Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. It is May 15th at 6 p.m. and we are going to stand for a flag salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess I should add is the Douglas County Planning Commission in Roseburg, Oregon. I'm Dorina Guido. I am vice chair. And to my left,
Jacob Gibbs.
Tim Allen.
Andy Owens.
Michael Widmer.
we have a sign-in sheet back there. If you have not signed in, please do so. And has anyone had a chance to look at the minutes? It's from February 20th, 2025.
I've reviewed the minutes, Madam Chair, and I make a motion that we accept them as is.
Second the motion.
Andrew made a motion and Tim seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So, we have a public hearing today that is coming before us. Douglas County Solid Waste Division. Request for a zone change from farm grazing exclusive farm use, farm forest to public reserve on a 95-acre portion of a 479.38 plus unit of land, together with a concurrent conditional use permit to allow expansion of the existing county landfill onto a portion of the proposed PR zone extension area. Property lies west of McLean Avenue at Interstate 5, exit 121, southwest of the city of Roseburg urban growth boundary. Subject property is described as part of tax lot 1800 and section 26, tax lot 301, and section 27, tax lot 101, and section 34, all in T27S R6W. Property ID number is R35237, part, and R20761, and R21841. Subject property is designated farm forest transitional and agriculture by the Douglas County Comprehensive Plan and zone farm forest farm grazing in part and PR in part, and is subject to potential wetlands. Roseburg Douglas Planning Advisory Committee, Planning Department file number 25-008. Okay, are there any conflicts of interest ex parte from the commissioners? Site visits?
So I see an individual in the crowd that I'm pretty good friends with. I'm not sure where he stands on the issue, but it could be a conflict of interest for me, just throwing it out there.
Okay. Good. So at some point you may or may not want to ex parte or?
Yeah, and we can decide, if that has a bearing on how you might feel as it moves through the evening then.
Never been there before, so guide me.
Do we have a list of qualified parties?
There was no responses received in the notice process, so we did not anticipate. But it looks like we'll have one that we'll need to
Again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Figure out the audience member there.
And the audience, is there anyone who's testifying in favor or opposed? No, just here to,
We're here as the applicant, and when it's appropriate, I'll introduce ourselves.
and so you're neutral,
Yeah.
just want to speak, and you signed it in the back?
Yes.
Okay. And so, planning department, can we get a staff report?
Yes. Vice Chair, members of the commission, I'll go ahead and present some stuff to enter into the record. So here are staff exhibits 1 through 16.
Thank you.
Okay. The applicant, the Douglas County Solid Waste Division, is requesting a zone change from Farm Forest, FF, and FG, Exclusive Farm Use Grazing, to PR, which is Public Reserve, on a 95-acre portion of a 479-acre unit of land, together with a conditional use permit for a solid waste transfer and disposal site to allow for the expansion of the existing county landfill. The subject property is located off McLean Avenue at exit 121 off Interstate 5. It is currently developed with the operating landfill consisting of borrow cover material site, settling ponds, site access, and stormwater detention and treatment areas. As noted in the application, the solid waste disposal site is a public facility that will serve all citizens of Douglas County, and the area benefited is the entire county. Subject property is surrounded by a mixed zoning of other PR zone lands owned by the county, FF zoning to the northeast and FG to the south. The 95-acre area for the proposed zone change to PR is located in the western end of the property and contains lands designated for agricultural and forest use, and that is both zoned both FF and FG. The applicant states the proposed landfill expansion is a continuing county use and complies with the policies of the comprehensive plan. This will have both economic and public service benefits to all citizens of Douglas County. Zone change criteria. Article 38, Section 3.38100 of in Chapter 3 of the Douglas County Land Use and Development Ordinance establishes criteria for approval of a zone change. These criteria are A, the rezoning will conform to the applicable sections of the comprehensive plan. B, the site is suitable to the proposed use, and B, and then C, there has been a conscious consideration of the public health, safety, and welfare in applying the specific zoning regulations. Procedural findings of fact. Property owners within 500 feet, affected service providers, governmental agencies, and the Roseburg Douglas Planning Advisory Committee were notified of this request by mail, and notice was published in the News Review, a paper of general circulation, at least 20 days prior to tonight's Public Planning Commission hearing. The staff recommends approval of the requested zone change from FF and FG to PR on a 95-acre portion of the subject 479.38 acre unit of land, which meets the established criteria of Article 38 as outlined in the staff report. The criteria for a conditional use review, the criteria for approval of a conditional use are provided in Article 39, Chapter 3 of the Land Use and Development Ordinance as follows. A, the proposed use is or may be made compatible with existing adjacent permitted uses and other uses permitted in the underlying zone. And B, the proposed use is compatible with other criteria contained in the specific zoning district regulations of the ordinance. The applicant has requested this concurrent conditional use permit review under Article 39 to authorize the expansion of the existing landfill to a location further to the west of the existing site in the PR zone, as reviewed previously in the staff report for section 3.7.100.2 of the LUDO, which formally lists the use as a solid waste transfer and disposal site. The staff report kind of goes through the different criteria, and so at the end of it, we have a recommendation that based upon the cited findings in the staff report, exhibits, and evidence in the record, planning staff recommends approval of the requested zone change from FF Farm Forest to an FG Exclusive Farm Use Grazing to PR Public Reserve on a 95-acre portion of the 479.3 acre unit of land, which meets the criteria of Article 38 of the ordinance. Furthermore, planning staff recommends approval of the concurrent conditional use permit to allow the expansion of the landfill within the 95 acres, subject to the following conditions. Performance conditions. Number 1, all aspects of the proposed landfill expansion shall be conducted on the property in substantial conformance with the operation as represented in the application and materials submitted for the request. Condition number 2, the applicant property owner shall submit an approved access permit from Public Works confirming that the proposed access onto McLean West Avenue meets county standards. 3, recognizing its proximity to the existing water courses within the subject property, the applicant property owner shall obtain any necessary permits from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. Number 4, recognizing its proximity to the mapped wetlands within the subject property, the applicant shall obtain any necessary permits from the Department of State Lands. Number 5, the proposed landfill expansion is regulated by and must be issued a permit from the Department of Environmental Quality. The applicant property owner shall obtain any necessary permits from the Department of Environmental Quality. Number 6, when the above conditions have been met and the appeal period has expired, the applicant property owners shall obtain a planning clearance worksheet authorization for the landfill expansion in accordance with the development standards and conditions as set out in this approval. Ongoing conditions. Number 1, any future structural development associated with the landfill expansion shall comply with the 50-foot setback from the bank of the existing water courses identified in the subject property in accordance with the provisions of the riparian vegetation corridor overlay. Number 2, the applicant property owner shall establish and maintain off-street parking in accordance with the requirements of Pluto Article 25. Condition number 3, any signs placed in conjunction with the landfill operation shall conform to the sign requirements contained in the property development standards of the PR zone, unless otherwise exempted under the definition of signs in section 1.090 of the LUDO. Condition number 4, the applicant property owner should comply with all applicable development standards of the PR zone, including lot coverage, property setback, sign standards for proposed landfill expansion. And that's it. Any questions?
Okay, at this time, we are going to ask the applicant or representative to come up and state your name and address and
Good evening, distinguished planning commissioners. Lisa did such a wonderful job of reviewing our application.
can you please state your name and
Oh,
address for the record?
Excuse me, I had that on, I'm Keith Kubik, and I'm a special projects consultant to the county. I'm working with Solid Waste Department and with its director, Nick Freisinger.
And my name's Nick Freisinger. I'm the Solid Waste Director for Douglas County.
And we were here to review this application with you and request approval of it. We can add to the presentation that staff did, but I'd first like to say that we, for all intent and purposes, stipulate to the record, we agree with the staff report and we agree with the recommendations and the conditions. The conditions are ones that will be fulfilled through the process. And one of the critical things about a solid waste disposal conditional use permit, it does require under the county code approval from DEQ. And so that DEQ process will be a huge next step, but the county has to get land use authorization for the expansion. I could give you a very quick overview, which Lisa already has. I wanted Mr. Freisinger also to provide you a new piece of information that we have that doesn't have to go into your record, but we wanted to make it available. So let me do that. This is a dual application for a zone change from about 73 acres of farm forest and about 17 acres of farm grazing to PR. and a conditional use permit for the expansion of the county solid waste disposal site. The county has acquired approximately 300 acres, actually it's a little less than that, directly west of the existing landfill. That you can see from the maps, and two of your exhibits are really good, but that literally is it's like a box canyon. It is slope, ridge and slope to the south, ridge and slope to the west, ridge and slope to the north, and drainage to the west, which goes right down through the unnamed McLean Creek, which gets all the treatment and all the services and the methane removal and everything that's happening comes right down through that same corridor. And the access, the only public access is up that corridor with using the existing access to the landfill and transfer station. The property that the exact expansion of landfill will go on is approximately 95 acres of that 300 acres. That creates a 200-acre more or less buffer on our own property around this new expansion of the landfill. It is an isolated property. There's no house within close proximity. There is one structure, and it is a shop building that can probably see the site, but there's no single-family dwelling at all within view of the expansion of the landfill. The county's ownership provides an on-site buffer of about 200 acres, and then the actual disposal site, development area, the 95 acres is currently, we're looking at a 22-acre footprint for the first two phases of the landfill. The expansion, which would get the county into at least 40 years into the future. And then the remaining portion of the 95 acres could be expanded in, if this is an estimate, but we have well over 100 acres of capability on that site. The zone change request has been highlighted. We do believe we've identified sections of the ordinance that it complies with. It does comply with the criteria, and the conditional use permit also. The county has placed particular emphasis on compliance with comprehensive plan and identified in public facilities element, rural lands element, urban land use element, public facilities element supporting plan policies or statements that relate to this zone change. And then the county solid waste department said this is an integrated application and some of the criteria overlap. So we identified all the criteria in one single document. May have made it a little harder for staff, but it was all combined together because one of the bottom lines is this conditional use permits probably the top judgment is can it be or can it be made compatible? And that's the compatibility criteria, which is not an completely, but is generally compatible, and it was found to be that in our research in the documents that we submitted. We also did get supporting statements from the three largest landowners that abut that said this activity will not interfere with their farming and forestry practices. It was from, let me get the names. Denny Lang owns the old Christensen Brothers Ranch, if you know where that property is. It's the large one basically to the south and west.
Brent Boyer.
Yeah, Brent Boyer, and Brent's to the
Southeast.
south and east, and
Milo.
yeah, and what's Milo's last name?
Anderson.
Milo Anderson, right. Oregon Tool and Supply, that's a commercial for him. So they, and if we looked at what the state requires for things like this, a statement of compatibility with farm and forest practices, and we received it from the three farm and forest operators that are about this.
Could I ask you to repeat yourself, Mr. Kubik? Sorry, can you go back to the conditional use permit in the, if I remember correctly?
And the what?
And how that is compatible? I think I heard it right, but I'm just,
Yes.
for my own education, not a questioning of it, it's just.
Yeah, I will. Well, first of all, compatibility means together in harmony. Okay, that's what.
I've never lived like that, so.
Yeah, the law, as it's applied to land use, let me say, as it's applied to land use law, compatibility means together in harmony. It's not intended by court cases to be an absolute.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be 100%. And it is the minimizing of interference or adverse impacts by the new use. Another way to look at it, and if there are some court cases that say it is harmonious coexistence, but again, not absolute. The county placed a strong consideration of compatibility, and it started with site suitability. The natural feature, the pseudo box canyon that this has, no drainage out, no view in. Then size and buffers, we put our own internal buffers of over 200 acres to protect the adjacent properties. Site drainage, all to the east and can be managed with existing or expansion of existing systems. Fire prevention, we have a contract with fire department, but we also will put internal fire trails and controls around the property and barriers. Access, single use, no trespass, no any interference with operation because it's controlled access. DEQ permitting will take care of a lot of the other environmental issues, and part of that will be drainage, soils, detailed, technical details that Mr. Freisinger will be administering with this approval. We also demonstrated that with the adjacent owners for farm and forest practices, we have a consensus and agreement of harmonious coexistence. I think that might be used in the letter that they gave us. Someone helped them put that in that letter. Traffic management will be easy, and also the overall impact of this, because there'll be no more outhaul out of the county that's expensive to us, has a traffic impact reduction. And that is in a TIS that's attached. Solid waste cell management, I told you it starts with the 22 acres and then is available into 45. Site litter and trespass is very nominal, and we have daily cover, we have management, we have on-site staff and supervision. Signage is a small scale, but it's only signs that are gonna be their directional signs. You know, we're not gonna be advertising anything. Noise and vibration, again, by the nature of the location, by the buffers that we provided, and the fact that around that is mostly open space also. The county then has, we believe, assured compatibility is achieved by this land use landfill expansion, and the conditional use permit will achieve the protection of nearby owners for the long term and reduce solid waste disposal costs to the citizens of Douglas County. And thus, that is a huge reason. And as I said, the county has already acquired this property, and hopefully the planning commission will have us moving forward on it. Mr. Freisinger, could you give them the information about the website?
Yes. Planning Commission, I have some updates to our solid waste county website that we've made here. I have them printed out just so you can read the verbiage. I'd like to introduce this information to the record as an exhibit. Hand these out.
Don't get one to staff.
Thank you.
That's the important one.
Thank you.
For the record, let it show that we have received information about the website, Shaping the Future of Solid Waste Management in Douglas County.
Yeah, and this has been, as I said, added to the Solid Waste County website. There's a link there. There's also an image on our solid waste home screen that would take any users directly to this verbiage. But this outlines kind of the historical status of the landfill, as well as our plan to move everything forward, while also giving just kind of a quick outline of how we expect to move everything forward and the timeline associated with that. Towards the back on the last page there, you'll see a quick question and answer form as well. That's just to answer some of the common questions that come up and allow people to see what we're doing to manage and how we're improving solid waste as we move forward.
This is Keith Kubik again, if I could ask Mr. Freisinger. And now, is this webpage going to be current and allow citizens to follow this project?
It will. Any questions from the Planning Commission?
Yes, was a wetland delineation done on this property that is being,
Yes. Wetland delineation is part of the DEQ permitting requirements. And so we have performed a wetland delineation. We're currently awaiting the final report. We also have a cultural survey that's taking place as part of the DEQ requirements as well. DEQ outlines phase 1 site characterization, and so that's what we're working through initially. And that will determine some of the site work that takes place initially.
when was the delineation done?
The delineation was performed in March of this year.
I do have a question. After looking at the website piece, it talks about a new landfill, and I heard kind of to the west of the property that's being bought. I guess I'm a little bit confused on where in this property we think that first phase will be.
I have an exhibit. Pardon me for a moment.
Let me find the one in the application.
There's one in the file.
Yeah, I'm looking for, I have an exploded version of that. And it's really helpful.
The east and west.
Yeah. I had that fold out one. Yeah. Yeah, let me use that with this.
So is this the existing, and this is.
If I might approach also.
This is like here, this is this area, turn this sideways, it's like this. This is for 95 acres. Just for the record, we're looking at a map in the application that shows the site of the 95 acres being rezoned. So this site is the area being rezoned of that 300 acres, so this is the 95 acres. And the cells are proposed, as what he shows there in this corner. That's kind of generally in that corner.
And where is it currently as I'm looking at this map?
The landfill is over here.
Yeah, in here.
I got you.
So this map, so here's the site, the existing landfill is
Yep.
right in there.
Perfect.
This is actually directly west.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure if they were actually gonna be connected and it was just building off of it, or.
No, they're not. It's a subsequent valley. There's a little ridge in between, which will be used partially for some fill material, but it is a second area.
Perfect, thank you.
Any additional questions?
Other questions? I believe we have completed our presentation.
Thank you. Do I have any parties in favor Opposed? Or neutral, who would just like to speak? Please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Brent Boyer, 832 Shuacan Lane. I'm the neighbor.
I'm sorry, Sugar,
Shuacan Lane. Is that a landfill lane? I didn't want that.
can you spell that?
CHEWAUCAN. So left, right for each of them. If you look at this, the building you're talking about, the shop, that's a shop. I can stare at the dump all day long. I don't mind it there. Now down below, what they didn't see is the second home site. It had a trailer built in 72. I yarded off there. So I was kind of trying to shape that. I don't see in any million years I want to build another house up there. But I hate giving anything to the government. It burns me. So obviously I'd not build a house right there because you'd be staring right at the new dump. So that's my only concern. I just don't want to smell it. I can plant trees so I don't stare at it, but I just don't want to smell it. Every time I drive by the Eugene dump, I smell that and it makes me puke. I can't smell what we got going on now, so I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing it right now. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything else before I close this portion of the hearing?
If there's rebuttal,
Oh, is there any rebuttal?
Again, Nick Freisinger. I'd like to address the concern of smell and controlling the smell from the landfill. We currently have a number of management techniques that we perform either daily or routinely that minimize smell. As part of that, we do daily cover. We also perform quite a bit of, a thicker cover over areas that we're not going to be using daily. So if it's an old area, then we're gonna cover that with at least 2 feet of soil. We also have a number of measures to control vectors such as birds, which can bring smell. We have cannons that make noise that can scare them away. We also employ a laser system that scares off vectors and some other heavy equipment work as far as coverage that helps minimize that smell. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to close this portion of the hearing so that as commissioners have a chance to discuss this and so, any concerns, any,
I think they've done a great job with what they're doing already.
the one I received online had the property owners around it. Pardon me, property owners, but nobody's here to oppose or,
Well, they addressed, that was a question I had to Madam Chair, was just the outreach, and so they answered that in their presentation of the neighboring landowners, and even one present tonight.
He gave me the tour.
So, thank you. Yeah, I was gonna ask what kind of outreach was done, so I sounds like it went above and beyond, I don't know, but above and beyond, but did the right neighborly thing to
Yep.
you know, talk to folks and make them all aware. So that was addressed, and the logic was sound. Check the boxes.
my only concern was a wetland delineation because all property owners have to do that prior to
Moving dirt.
prior to anything going on and considering the McLean Creek and all that, so that was my only. Not only. Okay, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion to approve or oppose or
Amend.
this one? Or
I usually just have a number of the. So I would make a motion that we approve the Douglas County Solid Waste Division's request for this zone change. From exclusive farm use, grazing and farm forest to public reserve, together with a concurrent conditional use permit to allow expansion of the existing county landfill onto a portion of the proposed PR zoned expansion area. And this falls under Planning Department file number 25008.
Can I get a second?
Make a second.
All in favor?
Could I,
Oh.
I'm not sure when, make us an amendment to just for clarification?
Okay, we're going to pause.
Consistent with the recommendations and conditions that were in the staff report.
The performance conditions 1 through 6 and the ongoing conditions
Correct.
1 through 4.
Yes. Just for clarification, that's,
No, that's fine.
okay.
Yes, do we need to make a new motion for, or we have that on record, just for
Yeah,
clarification?
I think with that clarification, that helps, but
Yes.
it was assumed, but now it's clarified in the
Yes,
record
thank you.
Okay.
that it's recommendation with the
Consistent
performance
with the
conditions and the ongoing conditions as listed in the staff report.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No, abstain.
Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor and 1 abstain to approve the zone change for the Douglas County Solid Waste Division, farm grazing exclusive farm use, grazing and farm forest to public reserve on a 95-acre portion of the 479.38 plus unit of land, together with a concurrent conditional use permit to allow expansion of the existing county landfill. Tax lot 1800 in section 26, tax lot 301 in section 27, and tax lot 101 in section 34, all in T27S R6W WM property ID number R35237, R20761, and R841, Planning Department file number 25-008.
We do have some findings of fact that we prepared with the idea that we weren't aware of any opposition, and since the participant this evening was neutral in their testimony, we would like to present you with the findings of fact for your review. Get those handed out here shortly.
Yes.
I appreciate the question.
I would note as you're looking through, just to help, we weren't sure about Brent Atkinson. So Commissioner Atkinson, we can, as you go through, we can just,
That would be, we do have a replacement page, but that for our draft, we weren't sure tonight until like right beforehand if he was coming or not, so. Our original, we have a draft without his signature in, without his name in, I mean, so. So if you wanna take a few moments to look those over. Here's the original one, it does have the right page.
making sure there's no bait and switch and.
I did, listen,
You gotta watch the staff on that.
well,
Definitely.
there were a lot of conditions and, you know, we had some things in there,
Lisa was very thorough.
yes.
We need to, so the addition he made to the motion, does it need to be included in this finding of facts, or was it?
They are, the ongoing conditions are here
Okay, so-
and, yeah,
They're already here, even
Yep.
though, okay,
Yeah,
Yep.
they're repeated.
everything. Everything, yeah.
so we just need to make a motion to
So
second to.
can I get a motion to accept or decline the findings of facts presented to us by the Douglas County
Make a
Planning?
motion to accept them.
I'll second the motion.
Again, with the caveat that we're striking Mr. Atkinson as being present.
The final draft doesn't have a minute.
Okay,
When she'll sign.
okay,
It's clear.
thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a unanimous decision to accept the findings of facts. Okay. Do we have any?
Okay.
That closes that matter.
Yeah.
Do we have any business from the audience? Do we have any other business from the planning commission?
I would just offer or maybe request, but we've had an extended hiatus of need to gather, which is good and bad, I think. I don't know what it indicates, but it's just a fact, there's my no value statement. But in light of that, I was curious about the opportunity of using times when we don't have quasi judicial business or other decision making to use this time for workshops or other opportunities to improve or expand our collective understanding of the work that we're doing.
It's a great idea.
So I just would ask that, recognizing that it's a burden on staff to prepare such a an activity, but when we have those extended periods, or when we don't have business, I would suggest or ask approval of the board, would that be a prudent use of our time?
Yeah, and actually Jake and I spoke on the phone earlier today, and I think that's a good idea, cause there's certainly opportunities that we could look into and find, and there is hope that we don't have a long hiatus like that again, but even a couple months off, there's opportunity there, so certainly something I will look into and see what we can come up with.
I take that time off as you guys just doing a great job at planning. That's how I look.
Thank you.
Just say yes and we'll move along.
Yes, thank you, yes. Yeah, it's certainly, we like the activity level, cause that's usually meaning there's more development going on and so we'll hope for more activity this year.
Very good recommendation.
Yes, I don't know how to follow up on that, but if no one has an allergic reaction that that's a terrible idea, then I guess I
No,
would
like it.
ask.
Yeah.
Put the burden on staff to, guide us when that opportunity arises.
It's ever changing, that's for sure.
I don't know what it's doing.
We'll come up with something, definitely. Yeah, great suggestion.
Any other business from the planning commission?
I have one other just comment. It's my understanding that the department has gone through significant change in the last 5 months, with departures, and I didn't learn until today, but the passing of a staff member, and so I just want to acknowledge that you all have been working shorthanded, regardless of the caseload, but also just dealing with that level of unexpected change is real, and I didn't know all of that until today, and so I just want to acknowledge the work that you've done and grateful that you're all still here. So just make sure people knew that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll stop now.
No, you
You're doing well.
we have new business from planning department?
I would just let you all know that we do get to have a meeting next month to keep this going. We will have plan amendment zone change for property in the Days Creek rural community, just off the Tiller Trail Highway. Actually, Tiller Trail Highway at its intersection with Days Creek Road. So it's an old property. It has mixed use of a residence and old gas station from way back. Right, yep, so they're looking to kind of reconfigure things and separate the residential component from the commercial component, so that'll be coming our way next month.
Okay.
And I would just again say thank you to Jake, Commissioner Gibbs, for that comment, and we'll look to regroup as we get some bodies hired and go through the training process, and we'll carry on. But thank you again for the recognition.
There's nothing else, I will close the meeting. And it is 6:49.